when something doesn't favor us as people, even if it is evil, we will support it. Whether it was a dump or not, but it was, you got a property and this portion was not allocated to you. You did what we would call land grabbing. You developed it. Whether it is the best result in the world or not, but what you did is illegal.
All the extra land that the Ministry of Fiscal Planning
approval. Whatever government decides to do, whatever it is they decided to do, good for evil, there is nothing you or I can do.
Welcome to the Resurgence podcast.
What if I told you I featured on one of the biggest music videos out there? I mean, go check it out. I won't tell you the title now, but towards the end of the podcast, you will definitely know. Hi guys, welcome to the Resurgence podcast. Based on my experience in the entertainment industry, I believe I'm in a position to talk about entertainment and how we can reposition Africa. And with me today, doing this, I have Basically, entertainment is mass media. And like I earlier said, it can include diverse products and services, music, sports, fashion shows, etc.
Movies.
Exactly, movies. So, is anyone here into the entertainment industry like myself?
Well, I don't know. Are you in the entertainment industry? I mean, I would think you are in the industry.
I'm a director of Lagos Film School, actors, scriptwriters, and filmmakers. So, well, I guess I
Right, you qualified. Well, I'm a singer, songwriter, record producer. I've worked with Church City. I guess I qualify as well as a
sure.
We're trying to do the modesty.
No, I mean, yes. Most of us are entertainers.
Okay.
On the planet. So yeah.
What about you, Mr.
I'm a civil servant.
I guess not all of
But
us.
I think you can be an entertainer in the civil service. How about that?
Yeah, you're not allowed to. The only thing we're allowed to do is agriculture and lecturing.
So, from your perspective, Damola, we're talking about sports in Africa because when you talked about sports, you seem so passionate about loving sports. So, how is sports in Africa today?
Well, before we go on, I love movies more than sports. But as an hobby, other than movies, I do movies. I sleep, drink, eat, spiritual. Movies is spiritual for me. But other than work, then sports is next on the agenda. Okay? And talking about sports in Nigeria, do we really have a sports industry in this country?
I mean, we have the NFL.
Sha.
Exactly.
Sha. Truth is, we don't have institutions, we don't have structure. Sports is almost non-existent in Nigeria. Let me put it this way. Sports is almost like what education is in this country. So you have a lot of individuals who went through the Nigerian educational system, and then they get to travel out and they become superstars outside of the country. And Nigeria, the university they went to, want to claim that glory for themselves. However, those guys were self-taught, self-developed. It was some other society, culture that gave them that the platform to launch. Same with sports in Nigeria. We really don't have a sports community, a sports culture, a functional sports institution. We have individuals. What we have is individuals who have pushed themselves to the brink and have decided to succeed irrespective, despite the failure in the Nigerian system, especially as it concerns sports. We really don't have a sports industry in this country.
We'll come back to sports because I have a lot of questions to ask. I have a lot of things to know, and I have some observations to make. So, Mr. Producer, Mr. Songwriter, as regards music, as regards the music part of entertainment, how is it from your lens? Tell us how it is in Nigeria, in Africa today.
I'll start with that because the story is long. It's the same problem, like Mr. Damola said, institutions. I remember trying to set up my royalty collection for my career. Okay, I made these songs, I worked with MI on this Chairman album. I produced the only proper hip hop. Let me not. But like I produced a hip hop song, a trap song on the album back then. I produced Brother for MI on that album as well. The brother features Musa, the gospel singer, and I want to give you guys all these background details first. So that you guys understand. Yeah, yeah. So I produced for Coca Cola. I produced for Do Something. I don't know if you guys know something. All I've been doing something.
Yes,
I produced that song. I don't know this song. So then I started to know about royalty collection. I started learning at the time about royalty. So the next inclination is, okay, who are the institutions in Nigeria that collect royalties for creatives, right? For musicians, we had COSON.
Yes.
We know COSON, right?
Thank you.
So
they say,
right?
Let the music pay.
Exactly. So the first thing inside Chocolate City was that there was a disagreement in the collection of royalties in Nigeria, first of all. Then I started researching, then I tried to reach out to other collection societies in Africa, then in the United States, in the UK. And then I remember calling BMI. BMI is American. And then I talked to them, I want to set up my royalty system. Mind you, royalty collection, you pay a one-time fee for some organizations, you pay once, and that's it for life. So they collect and they take their percentage and give you. Because they have to, if you don't do that, you wouldn't even know that you have money in some countries. And they work interdependently, whereby the one in America collects around the world and they send it to your country. So I reached out to the BMI, and BMI tells me, the woman talking to me, she told me, oh yeah, we'll collect from the rest of the world except Nigeria. Why? She didn't state it. Well, long story short, over time I figured out, I'm not going to call some names, they started telling me things that were happening in Nigeria and Africa. She said when they collect royalties in Nigeria here, the money sometimes, when Nigerian people, like Koson and these other guys collect money, for example, Nicki Minaj's royalties in Nigeria, because yes, we play
Holy Ground and the rest.
Do you get when you play a Nicki Minaj song in ShopRite Mall in Nigeria, you pay royalties. Yeah,
Interesting.
you pay there are different types of royalties, but then if you play it on radio, you pay mechanical royalties.
So you make Nigerians pay royalties?
Yes, Nigerian pay royalties.
They do.
I'm coming to that. So I did all of this research and all of those things, and then this person told me that when they collect these royalties for Nicki Minaj, for example, when Koson collects it, and they say after they hold it for a while, nobody came to collect it. I'm being serious and being straightforward. I'm not going to call this.
That is unbelievable.
I've had a publishing deal with a South African. Now I don't know the situation. I'm just speaking from my experience. I had a publishing deal for 5 years. I wasn't paid 1 naira. Mind you, there's another South African company I work with on digital distribution. I've been collecting royalties. So I'm not saying South Africa is bad.
Yes.
It's just that every country has its good egg and its bad egg.
It's
It's just that in Nigeria, I can't. But yeah, this has been the situation of many entertainers in Nigeria, and it's just an institutional problem. Well, I can put it that way, simply, but it goes deeper than that. So there's really an institutional problem. And of course, I made some points. Leadership. We don't have leadership skills for the most part in Nigeria. You know how they say women are prepared to be leaders than most men, right? Sometimes they say that.
Yeah.
The men have. I think over time, the men now become. They have to learn leadership from places that it's not supposed to be. They most likely learn from the streets, or they luckily have a mentor, or they have one that's going through something. And then leadership is leadership. Yes, there's the good leadership, there's the bad leadership. Bad leadership turns some of the young people to whatever they turn to, good turn them to, yeah. So, but yeah, leadership is another problem whereby, I mean, there are young people on this set right now. And if you give them a project right now, they can't manage a project, not because they don't want to, not because they don't know how to, or not because they are not willing to learn. There's no institution or system that would actually put them through the process to become unconsciously competent at being a leader. So that's another problem we have in Nigeria, and it's still an institutional problem. We think for ourselves, we don't think of everybody as one. You get a mother will see her children as her country. The next person is sorry. We don't see everybody as our children. Yeah. It's not a culture. It's not like the Jewish culture or the Igbos kind of have like some of those little things. Yeah, you get. So it's a problem on that front. And then I don't know what it is that is enforcing us to stay separated, but yeah, let's leave that aside. And also the language barrier is a problem. I say language barrier because we're teaching physics in English. We're teaching biology in English. We're teaching chemistry in English, maths in English, all of these things in English. there's still two person somewhere that is fluent in Yoruba, not so fluent in English.
Okay, so you feel like that's a factor that
Yes.
affects the music side of entertainment?
Entertainment generally, sir. Because people think about it, some people think in their language. So they have to interpret into English. That's where you hear baga. Yeah. But if you speak the language you're fluent, they don't have to think about it. So us encoding some of these trainings into their language, you will see how leadership will spring up. The Chinese people still maintain their language. Do you understand? Imagine you are speaking to Tubosun, for example.
Yeah.
On the roadside, you say, okay, Tubosun, I'm sorry, do you understand? Do you know where your mental hotel is? My booking is it's on right now, and they book my flights for so and so place. Tubosun will look at you days like, what's it going to be? But if you tell Tubosun, show more, you don't shady, understand, he speaks Yoruba to you. Easily, he will tell you, if he doesn't understand, he will tell you, he will tell you, he will respond to you. He already is just connecting on an unconscious level because speaking language is very unconscious to him. I'm saying if we encode some of these skills into languages that people can learn, there will be a lot more skilled leaders in multiple spheres of entertainment than what we have now. Because what we have now is people who can really speak English for the most part. The Opiweka guys that make music, they learn it in their own way. That's why if you can't make them to understand how they make music, it's very different from going to school in the UK.
Of course.
Totally different. How I learned music production, I didn't learn the right way. I learned from one studio to one studio to one studio to one studio to one studio. And some of them don't really speak English well. I learned some of the businesses, promotion from one Igbo guy, Chris B, who his wife sang Pomulero. He would by himself drive the car around Surulere, around Festa, with the speakers on top, make his money, sell the CDs by himself, figure these things out by himself. Is he the best speaking English guy? I don't think so. Or maybe he speaks, I don't know. I'm saying if we can encode some of these things that we glorify as, it's for the English speaking, whatever, encode it into our language, you will see more people will rise up. And then the principles, the concept of vision, mission, a vision statement, core values, all of these things, we already have them in our language, but we don't know how to apply them into some of these skills. You understand? Once we can do that into our language system, which is my fourth point that I just said now, it will actually improve the entertainment space, I think, in my opinion.
Is it the entertainment space generally, or as regards to
music, entertainment, fashion, general, everything,
Okay.
So, see, thing is, he said two things: leadership and coding in our language. Funny enough, institutions, and they don't mix. Challenges. One major challenge we've had in Nigeria is a failure of leadership on every strata, on every level.
In Nigeria, we have the Nollywood, and we used to have a lot of caricatures about how Nollywood movies were produced back in the day. Although there's classic Nollywood, like the likes of Jim Ike, Ramsey Noah. If you go to YouTube, on TikTok currently, they're using those Nollywood sounds as videos, Aki and Popo and the rest. Do you think Nollywood has evolved over time? And where do you think movies in the entertainment in Nigeria and Africa are today?
Thank you very much. Basically, to me, Nollywood has degenerated. The biggest promoters of Nollywood are the Igbo people. I'm in a bar or I'm in an office, I'm watching a Nollywood film of a king in a palace, and everything around what they are showing in that film is a big lie to who the Igbo man is.
In what ways?
First of all, there are some communities in Igbo land that have kings, very few. We are Republicans. I'm watching a Nollywood film in one duplex. An Igbo comes there are palace guards, courtyard. What the fuck is that? That's not who I am.
So who you are? Is it a man in a hut? Or?
I'm a man who wants to take a decision in my community. All the elders will come out and sit down and agree. Film, movie should tell the true story.
True culture.
Don't do something that is a facade, a mirage, just to make money. Tell my story. Tell the real story. That's the problem I have with Nollywood.
So where is the room for creativity to create?
Embellishment has its limit. You can embellish an Igbo man living in Lagos, doing ritual, all those things. That's how they tell about a people's system, how they live, all those kings. It is irritating to me. And the average white man in London would not like believing that that's why I am.
Okay, but you know, if you think about it,
see, there's some communities in Igbo land that have kings. Not all. Where I come from, I don't have a goddamn king. There's one there now. He should come and tell me that I should not build a house here. I will burn his own house. It's true.
Okay,
We don't have kings. But places like Onitsha, Obosi, Oro, they've always had kings. But in Igbo land, out of 100%, less than 5% of them have natural kings. We don't have, we are Republicans. You know why? We dealt well with monarchs because we saw the way monarchs abuse power. That's why when this of our children, Ezebiro, the king is an enemy. You make me a king now because maybe I fought for this community. I deserve to be king. My son becomes king. He saw me fight for the community. His son becomes king. His grandson becomes king.
Yeah.
He starts to abuse
Yeah.
the position. That's why I don't like kingship.
okay, but Mr.
That's why I
Uchi,
don't like it.
you mentioned that you basically are paraphrasing that Igbos are like the backbone of Nollywood.
They are the major promoters
Okay.
of Nollywood. I'm not saying that they're the backbone.
Okay, so
They have done the most films. They have invested the most money. But the ones that the acting purpose, I watched it too. Sam Loco, Mr. Ibu, if you see watch their comedy,
it's very different from
thank God I will not give you that
But
job.
like what he said about the role of creativity. When I was asking my question, I said today. So now we are talking about the Sam Locos, the Mr. Ibus of blessed memory, forgetting that Nollywood has revamped over time. So recently we have there was this movie that was released on Netflix. Before we didn't have our movies on Netflix.
Thank you. Those Netflix, or what's that girl's name? Funke Akindele.
Anikulapo.
The ones
House of God.
I watch in hotel in one palace, one Igbo king. No.
Okay, so let me jump into this conversation.
No. That's not.
And I'm going to speak across. I think I have what's it called to speak about movies. I'll come to that in a minute. But let me start from language coding and encoding. I have this approach to this thing. I think leadership has failed us. Let me give us an example. So there's been this clamor to write textbooks, student textbooks in either Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa languages. Okay, so how do they write it? How exactly can they go about it? They failed even before they started. Let me give you an example. The Yoruba culture, for example, does not have name for most colors. We keep comparing our languages with languages like Chinese, Korean, Japanese, etc. Those languages have existed for thousands of years. They were around when technology was being developed and evolving. And some of those cultures even contributed to the evolution of technology. So some of those things were borrowed from their own cultures into, you get. But now you want to adapt that to Yoruba textbook, for example. So you want to say the color blue. How do you write color blue in Yoruba?
You have to form new words.
Beautiful. So what should have happened is the leaders of Yoruba culture and community also have held like a conference and said, okay, what are we going to call color blue? And then they give it a name. Yoruba language, when it comes to translating it to English, is essentially descriptive. For example, television is ero maworan, meaning a device that captures vision and audio. Everything in Yoruba language, as it comes to describing technology, is descriptive, which would be more confusing for a learner than instructive for the learner. So as it concerns this point about encoding, don't even go there. Our leaders have failed us. If they had done what they ought to have done, it would be easier to encode, especially things that have anything to do with technology. Do you understand what I'm saying? It would be easier for us to blend. True. Igbos are the core promoters of Nollywood films, no doubt. Why? Because at the core, an Igbo man is a businessman. Producing and promoting are essentially the business sides of filmmaking. I think I should know.
Yeah.
As an expert now, you're
Okay. Having said that, Yoruba filmmakers, by the way, the very first Nollywood film was made by a Yoruba man. No, Aromira was the first guy to make a Nigerian home video. But here's the thing, two problems they had. One, it was made in Yoruba, so it was limited in scope to Yoruba people. And two, the business side of it was not as, the acumen to promote it was not as much as that of Igbos. So when Igbos stepped on the scene and they brought their business acumen to promoting Living in Bondage and all of the other films that came on board, it looked as if Igbos were.
No, we didn't find Nollywood.
Just a minute. One. No. Number two is, Yoruba films actually are, I know this is controversial, are actually much better made, better produced and all of that. However, the marketing and the promoting part plus the limitation of language is where Yoruba films tend to fall short. So you'd have this general statement that Igbos and Nollywood are synonymous. But of course, you see that the recent trend in Netflix movies and what kind of movies actually shows that Yoruba films tend to. But wait, having said all of that, if you ask me about the Nigerian film industry as a whole, how well we're doing, I'll give us a, please do not hang me, I'll give us a, 35 over 100. You know why? Let me analyze it. It goes thus.
35. That's below.
Hold on. Just hold on. It goes thus. So,
I watch films. I watch Indian films.
To know the true nature of Nigerian films, we tend to look at Netflix,
Not
Amazon.
just only Nigerian, Africa in general.
Let's start with Nigeria and then we'll go scale up to Africa.
Yes.
Okay, we tend to look at Netflix, Amazon, and cinema movies.
Yeah.
The question is, what ratio of these films versus the whole number of films made? Okay, as at 2011, Nigeria makes about 5,500 films every year, which makes Nigeria second in volume only to Bollywood in India. Okay, now that number would have quadrupled or more, especially with the advent of YouTube, etc. As in publication and promotion has now been has now been democratized with online platforms and all. So we make 20,000 or thereabout films every year. Question is, yes, Netflix films are well produced, well shot, well made, cinematography on point, writing is getting better. It's not there yet. Yes. It is not there yet, but it's much better than what we had. Okay, Asaba Films is well proliferates YouTube. Question is, how many Nigerian films how many Nigerian films actually make it to Netflix, Amazon, and the cinemas? About 500 in a year. How many Nigerian films actually get made? Over 20,000. What ratio of well-made films versus the general number of films that are made? You see that Nigeria is we're not actually there yet. The number of not well-made films versus those who are well-made, the ratio is staggering. It's crazy. You get, okay? It's the reason why I said, true, there's this quote and unquote new Nollywood that is thriving, but the regular Nollywood that is still where it used to be is way bigger. We're not there yet. We're not there.
Fact.
But don't you think that, recently Nigerian movies get premiered at the Canada Festival in America? Before, like you rightly stated, we didn't have all that. We didn't have Nigerian movies showing in cinemas in the US, in the UK for some time. Like when Kuni Afolayan released Anikulapo and when House of God just recently came out, it was like for a week, for a month, it was one of the top 10 most showed movies on Netflix and all these online platforms.
Yeah.
And you still think that this, the movie industry in Nigeria and Africa, because it's not just Nigerian movies. You have South African movies out there, you have Kenya movies and the rest. So let's not just generalize. You still think that Africa, Nigeria has a long way to go as regards.
What is the migrant population of Nigerians in Canada? What is the migrant population of South Africa?
You are hitting the nail on the head, Sam.
In Canada, we're the biggest migrant nation in Africa. So those films are pandering to the tastes of our people there who are nostalgic. Hey,
So-
I'm not eating that my last.
Let me follow up with that. So you have a lot of people who say
Yes.
Nigerian
That's
films
why.
cut across globally.
No.
True, it does,
Yeah,
but
who
it
are
does
they?
not. A typical white man cannot sit and cannot stand a typical Nigerian film. Come on.
I won't call the company's name, but I have another story for that. Before I get to that story, I want to address what you said on our leaders have failed us on encoding.
Okay.
When I was talking about leadership, I wasn't talking about our leader or somebody else. Yeah, I was just talking about the skill of leadership. You notice I pointed that there are young people in this set right now. How I make music is peculiar to me and a group of people. And how am I going to transfer this knowledge? Because the situation that made me become this record producer that I am right now is peculiar. It's different from if I studied in abroad or somewhere to study music.
Sure.
So how can I use this same peculiar situation, this environment, how I studied this thing to create a curriculum for somebody else that will go through this same peculiar situation that I went through?
And understand.
Exactly. So now currently I'm working on like a curriculum,
Okay, that's good.
60 videos that would help people understand music the way I understood it.
I wasn't referring to government as leaders.
Yeah.
I'm talking about leaders of thought in the Yoruba
Thought leaders.
community.
Exactly. I was saying, I don't want us to now say the leaders have failed us. Let us look to what are we, you and I, doing
No,
to make
that's
this.
something.
You understand? That's what I was talking
Yeah,
about.
back to
Yeah.
that,
I know you have an institution.
Yes,
You
I do.
understand? So please talk
I
about
do.
you. Leave those people alone.
Now,
we can't go to the
back
past.
to that.
Again,
your question.
Yes, the music and Nollywood.
Sorry, before let me answer a question. The music and Nollywood. My story is that, like I said, I've produced songs for some artists. Kolewek, the Do Something. How many of us know Wedding Party?
Yes, wedding party, yes.
Okay.
Is it the one that this guy acted? What was that?
Back it up.
Back
Yeah,
it up. Do Something. Do Something was used in that movie.
yeah. We love to do something.
What year was that movie made? 2015, right? The
Yes.
first one. That was the one we used in. I got paid this year.
Okay.
After
That's like 9
9
years.
years.
I didn't get paid. I went to demand for my money. I didn't just demand for my money. It was, we're having a conversation with the artist Kuka. And then it's my friend. So we got into the conversation where we talked about, we talked about sync licensing, which I'll get into. They don't pay us. So I said, really? So he's my friend. So he showed me the email, the amount they paid, everything. I had now known about my rights.
Of course.
Many producers don't know that when your song is used in a movie, you have money there. Once you have, there's something called the split sheet. It shows you, it is this document that shows that you actually produced the song, because somebody can dismiss you. But when you have a legal document, and split sheet is just once you make the song, write your government name so that, and then everybody will sign. Everybody's name will be there. The percentage of work you did is split into two parts: the instrumental and the lyrics.
Okay.
Exactly. So you split based on the percentage you did on the work. That was what I presented. Everybody had signed. So to the company, I'm not going to call the name, that was in charge and here. So then they were not like, oh wow, incredible. So we'll get back to you on that. It wasn't just that movie. Chief Daddy, Kolewek was used. So those are the monies we collected this year. Not a lot of money. Are they telling the truth? I don't know. Are they lying? I don't know how much they collected. But that was the money they presented.
Difficult to track.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I had to make sure that, and it was after I came into this knowledge. They say knowledge is light. When I got the light, exactly, that's when I realized that, oh wow, that's why it took 9 years. If I had known that time, I would have collected my money then, collected my money since that time, and I would have even pushed for more, probably sued or something. But with the understanding now, being a thought leader, I told this story in the course that I'm doing right now, using it to teach a type of royalty called sync licensing, that is licensing your music for film. So I use this story, I think I used the Taylor Swift story as an example. Anyways, I used to teach sync licensing. Now sync licensing, in the word itself, sync, you sync music to movie. So they pay you to do that. Why? Because of IP. IP means intellectual property.
Yeah.
Nobody created you. So that nobody can use your intelligent work without your permission.
Yeah.
It's natural. But I'm not saying Tubonsu, I'm just using Tubonsu as an example name. A Tubonsu for that doesn't know this thing before, because I didn't know it before. He will make music and they will tell him, your song's going to be used on film. He's going to be excited. Oh my God. He will tell his mother, he will tell his family, I don't blow. But beyond your excitement, there's money that you need to be paid.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, they can come and relicense that movie for music for somebody else. If Tuponsu makes that music for a movie and they use that song in the movie, over the years somebody is collecting the money, but Tuponsu doesn't know.
Yeah.
You understand? So sync licensing in Nigeria, let's not even go into that conversation. But what I did was I secured myself with this company because after collecting the money, I made sure I left an email that states that any conversation of with the usage of my work without my consent might result in so and so. So that from then on, my songs are produced for the artists in that company. Before they use it, they will think twice. If they use it and I don't realize, in years to come, I can sue or my children can sue based off of this email and this documentation and all of those things. Yeah.
Okay, so that brings me to the question: how can Nigeria, for instance, African countries, for instance, develop sustainable measures that can help these different types of entertainments that we've been talking about? Institutions.
Now, this will be out of, in my opinion, I'll be brief. This will be out of the context of education as it relates to the niche. It will be out of that context. This one has to be a continental or national principle that will bind us together. Because if you put it as, let's now make, the tutorial is going to only do so much for people. But when people come together in belief, I'm looking for a very general term to use to like we need something that would actually make people align as one, so that it is not a thought to think my Igbo brother first before I think Yoruba. It's not be a thought to think my Hausa person Yane because we speak the same language before you do, or to think I'm a piano South African Kwaito. In fact, there are divisions inside South Africa.
Of course, go everywhere.
Exactly. So there has to be a binding thing. I think somehow the United States of America, those people understood something. That's what is keeping. Because when I speak to an American woman, I spoke to an American nurse. What she said, when I told her, she said there's corruption everywhere, there's corruption in America.
Yeah.
But they have 3 checkers, the judiciary, all of these things. They work. Institutions work. You see their Senate. Their Senate would attack Mark Zuckerberg. Question why he's doing what he's doing. Yeah, you understand? We don't have that. When one person go and bring $1 million,
whose job is it to found and sustain institutions?
So that's why
governments or people?
No, that's why I'm saying let's leave government. Let's leave.
No.
We've been saying this for years.
Government. So let's come back.
Let's take leadership into our own hands.
That's the difference between.
Do you understand?
So do you think a man?
You don't have the law. You don't have the power to enforce.
You can't change a society from ground up. It has to change from top down. Except institutions are founded and sustained by people you vote, elect, or who are in power, institutions will not be sustained and they will not work.
Who created that institution of voting democracy?
The Greeks.
Okay, so before we...
That's why I understand what that's
exactly. Hold on.
Some people also tell you that it was the Igbos that invented democracy. You know why? No.
They said some people would also...
Yes,
say that.
No. You know why? I'm not talking out of paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Empirically, anthropological studies in Igbo land carried out after the White conquered Igbo land. There were fossils of a gathering. That they checked the age of the bones there.
Yeah, the archaeological
findings. So many areas, Uti. But the Greeks were the ones that actually propagated it globally. The Igbo man was doing what he was doing inside the forest. Who will hear him?
Same with the Yoruba man.
Who will know him?
The Yorubas have been doing democracy since
forest.
Forever.
So, but the Greeks.
However, see, let's stay on topic though. To stay on topic, it goes thus. We as a people, we have knowledge is power, like you said. If only people get to understand what government, the relationship between people and government is, we will thrive better and more. Let me give us an example. So what is government supposed to be to people? I mean, what is the responsibility of government to us, and what is our responsibility to government? It goes thus. So we as a people see the portion of our freedom and a portion of our everything to these people who either they govern us monarchically or elected into power or whatever. And the role of government is to maintain law and order above everything else over that people. So I'm ceding a portion of my freedom to you. I'm giving a portion of my power to you. And you're supposed to exercise it on behalf of all the people to maintain law and order. That's the first job of government. Second is to create an enabling environment for citizens to thrive.
So government is a social value system.
More or less.
We need a new social value. That's what I'm saying.
No, it's not about new. It's about enforcing. It's about people don't understand. If you understood, I'll give you an example.
There are bills that have been passed that we don't know about.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. This social value system is not working.
No, that's not the right way to approach it.
Okay, so,
the right way to approach it is we have a social value system. It is not working for us. How do we make it work for us? You know why? Do you know why?
Why?
Because there are laws that have been entrenched that says this is how this is going to be. As an individual, if you go against it, you are rebellious. And there are also laws to quash and squash rebellion.
So this is my thing. Who created those laws? First of all. And now, does those laws apply to Gen Z?
Does it not?
Gen Z are the new,
does it not?
They're new elders. So.
It applies to everybody.
Renan, listen to me. Wait, I'm coming. There's something I want to add there. Government as a whole is populated by people. A tree cannot make
a forest.
But
yeah.
An individual can make a difference.
True. In a way.
An individual can. I'll mention 4, 5, 6, 7.
If the NAFDAC woman was not head of NAFDAC, she cannot make a difference.
But actually she was head, and she wasn't the first head or second head or third head. Now, the mafia was crushed by 2 men. In the 40s, there was a man called Elliot Ness. He was an IRS man who brought down, what was that idiot's name again?
The Italian mob guy.
Al Capone.
Yeah, Al
In
Capone.
modern times, Rudolph Giuliani, mayor of New York, former, brought down the last vestige of the mafia in New York. Individuals can make a difference.
Yeah.
An institution can exist for 1,000 years. One man will come and give voice to that institution.
True.
Yeah.
To show and put it on the irreversible path, not to go back to before. Why it was. So please, what kills Africa, what kills Nigeria particularly, is discard, and when you discard merit.
And we do that too often. We do that way too many times.
That's something to talk about is Igbo in Hausa. No. Don't do this mess. No country, any country that sacrifices merit.
On the
Turkey is an Islamic country. There's no part of Turkey you cannot drink beer. Why? You have to play down religion to bring up the state. What Turkey, the man that changed Turkey was a man called Kemal Atatürk. Was a Muslim, but said, God forgive me, fuck Islam. With Islam, this place will not grow. Place Islam in the background. What he did in 1910 or 12, that's what Saudi Arabia is doing today.
Okay, Mr. Uche. So, back to what we are discussing.
What Saudi Arabia is doing today?
You know that entertainment has a very, very key impact on the economy.
It does.
Recently, some beaches in Lagos were destroyed because of the coastal highway. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. And if we cast our mind back, we can discover that Landmark had to move, Soul Beach had to move, Good Beach had to move. And I don't know who has ever been to Landmark.
I've been there
several times. You saw how it is being used as a recreational center, as a form of entertainment.
Have you been there before it was turned into a beach or a refuse dump?
And then this man comes
there.
into the system and revamps the place and causes tourists. You know, I just got back that come into Nigeria, foreigners that come into Nigeria would want to go to the beach.
Yeah.
Use that as an entertainment center to catch fun or get the vibes.
100%.
And I can tell you that Landmark Center and all those other beaches were generating income for the economy. Now, my next question is this. What strategies can we put in place for these various types of entertainments to help the economy of Nigeria and Africa at large? And what strategies can we use, can these forms of entertainment use to make us Nigeria and Africa globally, recognized, globally a force, and globally, a continent that would have its legacy through entertainment last.
Kenya generates huge amount of money from tourism annually. Their wildlife, so many things. Mombasa, Tanzania, the Serengeti, South Africa,
Zanzibar.
Kruger Park, and others. You don't listen to the news. 17 kidnapped in Nairobi. 17 kidnapped in Zanzibar. You don't hear that nonsense. You cannot talk about entertainment without security. A white man is applying for visa to Nigeria. He's asking his home Minister of Foreign Affairs, don't go there. Kimberly was here last week. The advisory from her Foreign Affairs Minister, don't go there. But she came. You cannot plant orange and expect to harvest apples. We should get our acts right. 29 killed. Maiduguri, bandit strike, 239 died. Just, these are investor killers. No white man is coming here to die. He wants to watch his lion, watch his giraffe, and go back.
Every time I hear the word investors, I don't know, something inside of me revolts. What kind of investors are we looking for?
Now,
to do what exactly?
Now, excuse me now, this your landmark man is a UK-based medical doctor who had this thing back home. The tragedy of that landmark demolition is this. The excited minister planned the
What portion of landmark was this?
And
what financial detriment happened to
$200 million.
No, take a let me land.
But that is false.
Even if it's 10 naira.
Wait.
Exactly.
But that is false. So hold on.
Okay, even if
hold
it's
on.
I'm finished. Let me land.
Let's
The excited minister for works said the Lagos Calabar highway will pass like this. After the demolition, he now said that no, like they are going to revert.
I heard that is foolish.
Yes.
But having said that,
Wait, initial plan that did not involve demolishing anything.
Yeah.
That was when my brains went.
do you know a problem?
What the hell is happening in this country?
Hold on. Do you know a challenge I have? I have this challenge of when something doesn't favor us as a people, even if it is evil, we will support it.
Where is this coming from? None of us are on that book.
Hold on.
Because how does it
So
relate
narratives
to-
are spawned.
How does it relate to
Narratives are
strategies
spawned.
to
Hold on. Narratives are spawned and we are lying. So here's the drift. Man comes, whether it was a dump or not, but it was, you got a property and this portion was not allocated to you. You did what we will call land grabbing. You developed it, whether it is the best result in the world or not. But what you did is illegal. Illegal. So whenever government comes and they reclaim the land for whatever purpose, we should avoid this emotional,
And I say
ethnic.
something on what you just said.
yes,
Okay.
please.
Tell me that 80% of the houses in Lagos are liquor.
Oh, but see, here we go again.
But they're not.
Here we go again.
They're not.
Hold on.
They're not.
Hold on.
Tell
So-
me that you want to do something legal and
Yeah.
you will not be forced to become illegal.
80% of houses in Lagos are not legal.
I went for COSON meeting.
That is not.
That's the
Because
problem
of
we're
the-
having.
So the
Yes, you
challenge
understand.
is
So
so
tell me
but
about
do you
the meeting you had
understand?
at Kosovo.
Okay, so you agree that
Hold on. Like, see, I went to a COSON meeting. They were like, oh, music industry person, go for your COSON meeting. Oh, yeah. Nigeria, right? And we went there, we sat down. Proud enough to say, okay, yeah, this is our collection society in Nigeria. All I could hear was COSON is working, COSON is working. They were asked question, COSON is working, hey! Another question, COSON is working, hey, see our building, see our building. These are people's royalties, what are you talking about? I couldn't fathom what is going on there. In government at the same time too. I mean, I've been stopped when I had my Corolla. I was driving one time and then I stopped by the lights. Last-ma guys came. Last-ma, they're the good guys, yeah. But then there are some that are like, came and took me, said, you pay money for this, money for that, money for this. I was younger then, so I was confused. And I called my friend, who his father is somewhere, so. And I paid 1,500 after wasting my time to go and see my parents. Do you understand? I'm saying that to say that if you want to justify one wrong and say, oh, what this person did is wrong, let's look at the whole picture then, because that's a major thing right there. Do you understand?
But it starts from somewhere.
It did
If you're
start
going
from landmark now. It has started from before
For
landmark.
instance, we're talking about security,
Damola,
government, and
Damola,
everything.
That he who comes to equity.
Must come with clean
See,
hands.
excuse me.
Did Mr.
All those
Landmark
extra,
come
all
to
those
the table
extra
with
land
clean
grabbing.
hands?
All those extra land grabbing.
Charging Mr.
Wait,
No, they did
wait,
not. They did not.
wait. All those extra land grabbing that he did, Ministry of Fiscal Planning give him.
Approval.
Wow.
That's our point. Hold on.
He's a man
An
doctor, he's not a
individual
fool.
on the table.
Wait, everybody-
Hold on.
All the PR he would do for the illegal land grabbing, he did it. The tragedy of, God forgive me, Lagos State, is that somebody is retiring in 5 years' time. You bring a building plan in an illegal area, he approves correct his PR, and it's bad over.
Now, so that's the way this country works.
Apart from the
That's tragedy of
landmark,
Lagos.
apart from the landmark,
The most man who had a house, he had approval.
apart from the landmark,
But when I give approval, has retired.
apart from the landmark issue, we're talking about Mr. Uche.
Has retired.
We're talking about entertainment
Yes.
on a global
Scale. The previous Olympics, the two is
So
that somebody actually flew. She flew herself there. I think she
paid
paid her way
everything.
So,
And that was not just the only person. Favour Philip tried. We saw how Favour Philip tried, labored to be at the Olympics, and no support whatsoever. So what
I saw
can we do?
a Chinese
That's what I'm
girl
saying.
called Adako
So-
Wando.
the Chinese.
Chinese girl, she won 50 meters butterfly, swimming, go.
Why
I saw Ogunleye Jembe.
Why that happens?
But there's a barrier in
Ada
Nigeria,
Omando.
but there are
I've not heard the
barriers.
story about her swimming for China with an Igbo name, but I'm going to find out very soon.
So
When I was seeing them enter the water, I said Ada Omando. I said,
No, but that happens across the world. That is not so much of a challenge. The problem is
because Chinese,
the problem is
Americans
the
now, the people that want-
frequency. They
Your basketball female team
What
are
can
all
we
American
do?
born, all of them.
So the strategy, right?
Yeah.
The strategy for that.
Yes, strategies for that.
Now I don't have the answer, but I will say what I think. It is what we are already doing individually inside Nigeria. We take it upon ourselves to start institutions, to train people, or set up like NGOs to help these kind of things, all of those things individually, or a group of people. I think we should build on that and create the link for the people in diaspora, because there's a disconnect. They don't really know exactly what's going on, and they want to help. I've seen some of them.
Because I
But
think
they
the
don't know,
basketball team, like almost 100% of them were African Americans,
Diaspora.
No,
Nigerian
no,
Americans.
please.
Nigeria, they also
Even the coach herself is Nigerian,
Nigerian,
the
American.
accent gives that away.
Yeah.
You understand? That's what I'm saying about the leadership thing. We still trying to say the
Adebayo,
government has
a
to do how
man, played
to.
basketball
It's
for
not
USA.
working. It's
Yeah.
really
Did you
not
see?
working. It's still expecting any glimpse of hope that the government is going to do something. I mean, it's great, but when you take, I mean, in Nigeria here, everything we want to do, we do them ourselves. Things that most of the things that we get done is things that we take up on our own accord, not involving the government. It is after we've done CAC registrations on the business we'll be doing that government comes into play. Or you come and pay your taxes. They did not start it with you, and that has been the case. See the landmark one now. See many things. So I'm thinking we should now institutionalize this thing. Should be a new concept or a new idea whereby it becomes a front and a thing whereby this strategy of us being individuals that will build a nation rather than depending on an institution that is gone is now something that
I remember.
so my strategy is like this new social value system should come from the individuals that are willing to build from within, because everything big starts into this big thing is not working.
This is so beautiful. It reminds me of some guys who decided to do what Uber was doing with taxis to do it with bikes.
Gokada.
Where are they today?
And they killed the guy in New York. That's
Where are they today?
Lagos State government.
Aside of him,
Killed them.
Gokada and
Lagos State government. I
what was
mean,
the other
Okay.
one? Oh, I can't remember what the other one was. So yeah, this is
no
what
bike
I'm going at.
on the go.
The individuals came up with this, and while it could thrive, it might thrive. It will thrive only until government decides to stamp it out. We will be treating symptoms if we go about it that way. Why? Government can raise up one day wake up one day and decide to snuff out through legislation, promulgation, decree, executive order, or whatnot, and cancel out whatever gains has been made by individuals in those areas. So what is the way to go about it? Hold government accountable. It is what Gen Zs are avoiding, and it is the only way about it.
Hold government.
Hold
That time
government
we used to be holding government
accountable.
and be planning and strategizing to hold government accountable. If you use that time to create solutions, things will be moving forward.
And
Even
then
though
government
it's
can
slowly.
come and wipe it out. And then what?
Well, we
Start
It's
over.
not all, okay, we are saying as if any idea that comes, government wipes it out immediately.
We
No,
all-
government don't always wipe everything out now. They didn't wipe out Uber that came, foreign guys said. They didn't wipe out boats. They didn't wipe out like some of the local
In-driver,
in-driver agricultural system that are doing in here.
So
They didn't
far,
wipe out
Yet.
Paystack. They didn't wipe out Paystack.
Yes.
It's Nigerian built.
Yet.
Why
They
didn't
didn't
wipe
wipe out
out
Paystack.
yet.
They didn't wipe out Paystack at this point.
You're saying yet because you feel like there's a possibility it's going to be wiped out.
See, the thing is this. Whenever government decides to do whatever it is they've decided to do, good or evil, there is nothing you nor I can do.
Well, thank you very much. Everybody has made like quite valid points on today's podcast. And honestly, that is not to say that African creatives aren't putting in the work, because I could list off the top of my head 20 creatives that are putting Nigeria, putting Africa on the global space. But I believe that there is still so much to be done. In place of individuals, the government, most especially, and a lot more institutions, strategies that needs to be put in place for. Because, truth be told, Nigeria, Africa is a country and a continent of talents, and wherever we are put into, we excel. So we just need the right mentorship, guidance, leadership, and the likes. Thank you very much for tuning into this podcast. We will see you